conference on a Thursday night where the University of Cincinnati, really good football team that was 7-1 in their last 8 Thursday night games, which includes some big wins against some Power 5 opponents, to be able to not play our best, but still find the resiliency and the fortitude to have a really good fourth quarter when it mattered, and come out with a win. Again, much needed couple days off on Friday and Saturday, and then got back to work yesterday. So, questions?
Coach, Jared King, one of several young players that came up big in a hostile environment. Just talk to me about how pleased you were with the way that your young players played in that hostile environment.
Yeah, again, I've said that you take a look at the true freshmen that are playing for us right now. You're talking Manville High School, Katy High School, Westfield High School. So these guys are, they're used to the bright lights. I think when we played, get this stat, I think when we played at NRG against Oklahoma, that was Colin Wilder's 15th time playing a football game in NRG Stadium. So these guys are very well prepared to play as true freshmen.
Tom, after the game, you had mentioned just moving forward with Greg, maybe reducing things in rep-wise in practice. Have you now, through a weekend, kind of mapped out a course for moving forward, how you'll do that?
No, I think it's going to be a day-by-day feel thing for him. He said he felt great on Sunday, so we let him have the whole practice, and we had a 2-minute drill yesterday, 7-on-7. He threw the ball a bunch yesterday and threw it well, and so I haven't talked to him today. I know he was in for treatment this morning, and you know, I'll get a report this afternoon, and tomorrow we'll evaluate where he's at after treatment in the morning and decide. But I don't, you know, I mean, it's a volume thing, not a you know, what kinds of throws, and I mean, obviously we don't hit our quarterback in practice, so you know, monitoring his reps. When I said that, I really meant, you know, just monitoring how he feels, and if he feels like it's too much, then we'll slow him down. If he feels like he can handle it, then we'll give him everything he can handle.
Tom,
You good?
can you speak to Greg's tenacity? He took a wicked shot in the game last week and stayed in and hung in there. And just talk about this kid's tenacity.
Yeah, he's one of the best competitors I've ever been around, and I think you know, he's taken a lot of big hits in his day, and so I think once he got hit and the shoulder, yeah, did it hurt the shoulder? Yeah, but did his arm fall off? No. Was he able to throw another pass? Yes, and I think that kind of gave him some confidence, like, hey, all right, what these doctors and coaches have been telling me is true. You know, it's just a matter of pain tolerance, and if that's all it is, then he's about as he's got as high a pain threshold as anybody I've been around. So proud of him for the way he responded. You know, and we're going to need him, you know, in big games like that against, you know, equally talented teams. We're going to need him to, you know, he's going to get hit, and he knows that, and that's part of the deal. And he does a great job of accepting that role.
Tom, given the way the schedule falls out, similar to the way it did with Lamar and Cincinnati, then having the Thursday night game in a short week, any thoughts to maybe having a similar game plan going into Texas State like Lamar?
No, this is, Texas State's not Lamar. It's a really good football team that went on the road their first game in the Everett Withers era and won a triple overtime game at a MAC opponent's place that you know, traditionally has been one of the top teams in the MAC conference. So much different animal. Yeah, he's going to play.
Tom, when you first hired Todd Orlando, I believe you said that was the only full-time assistant on the staff that you didn't have a prior relationship with. What drew you to him?
A couple things. That's a great question. I knew what kinds of defenses kept me up at night as an offensive coordinator, and so I knew I wanted to run that kind of defense. So that limited the pool. And then I asked around and said, who are some of the guys that are running a three-man front, but you know, but being a little exotic with it and being able to put pressure on the quarterback, pressure on rundowns, keep guys behind the chains. And his name kept coming up. I have a really strong relationship with Dave Aranda, who was the defensive coordinator at Utah State. When Dave went to Wisconsin, Matt Wells had hired Todd Orlando to replace him. And then, so when his name kept coming up, I reached out to Dave, and obviously he's kept in touch with the guys at Utah State, and the rest is history. He got a glowing recommendation from Dave, and so I called him up, started a dialogue, and now we're here.
And now that he's in the second year, what kind of evolution have you seen, or maybe, I guess, just finer points that you've seen that have improved from last year to this year so far?
Well, I think our, you know, we're moving our front and base defense a little bit more, which is good. Not to be just wooden Indians, you know, playing two gap. You know, when you're playing base and not blitzing, sometimes those guys, because we play head up the center and head up the inside eye of the tackles. Sometimes those guys can get swallowed up. So I think he's done a nice job of moving that around, and has done a nice job of protecting our young secondary when need be. I think that's something, you know, we don't have William Jackson. We can't just say, hey, go cover that guy, and I'll see you at the end of the game with a pizza box and an attaboy, you know, and so he realizes that, and realizes, you know, there's a time and a place to protect your secondary a little bit.
The stats kind of speak for itself as far as your defensive front goes, but how impressive has it been seeing that group perform through the first 3 games? How dominant they've been?
A lot. I mean, I don't know. It's something I've never been around. You know, when we had 30 yards total rushing, 12 yards a week before, and Oklahoma was, I think, 60 or 70. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, if you can stop the run, you know, as good a passer as you know, the kid from Cincinnati was, and as talented as they are on the perimeter, if you can stop the run, you're going to have a chance to win a lot of football games. And we've done a pretty good job. I mean, it's a 3-week sample size right now, but all signs point to us, you know, being pretty good at that.
Tom, along those lines, I went back and watched that sack. Ed Oliver looked like he took up 2 blockers there and freed up you guys to go in and just those kind of plays for a guy that young.
Well, that and I think, you know, last year everybody wanted, well, why does B.J. Singleton, why does Tommy Mark, why aren't they showing up in the stat sheet? Well, it's kind of the nature of the defense, you know. It's if they're taking up 2 blocks, then somebody's free, and so I think Ed understands that. Ed's commands that kind of attention. It's really hard to block Ed one-on-one over and over again. So I think that's just kind of the way our defense is kind of patterned.
Coach, obviously when you recruited Ed, you had high expectations, you knew what he could do, but has he still managed to surpass those expectations and what you thought he would be able to do so early on?
No, not after what I saw in training camp. I knew he was going to be a force to be reckoned with after seeing him in training camp. Prior to that, obviously, again, he comes from an unbelievable program in Westfield High School, so you know he's going to be, you know, Coach Blum, their defensive line coach, is as good as it gets in high school at any level at coaching defensive line, and so I had a pretty good idea that Ed was going to be what he is.
Tom, through 3 games, I think Stephen Taylor is more than halfway to his sack total from last year. What kind of growth have you seen from him, and maybe how much of some of that attributes to what the defensive line's doing?
I think a lot of it is the defensive line. You know, Steve gets to reap the benefits of the dirty work that those guys do. Not that Steve, quite literally, you know, bloodied his own lip, you know, with one of the hits, and I was pretty proud of it. And, I like that. He's probably a step quicker right now. He's gained some weight, and all these guys, they think, you know, Greg was a perfect example. They think, if I gain weight, I'm going to slow down. No, not with Yancey McKnight weight. No, Yancey McKnight weight is strength, it's muscle, it's explosion, it's power. And so I think Steve bought into that. He gained weight, he gained strength, explosion, and power. And so I think he's a step quicker. And again, just the second year in the defense, I think is really kind of seeing things happen before they happen too.
Tom, you've got cross paths with Everett at Ohio State, correct?
Yeah, for two years with Everett, and way back when I was a graduate assistant at Texas, he was DB's coach there too.
I guess what is the nature of your relationship with him?
I consider him a close friend. His wife and my wife are really close friends. They got to know each other quite a bit in Columbus, and continue to talk to this day. We were excited when Everett had the opportunity to move back to the great state of Texas, and excited to see him off to a good start. Obviously, the Arkansas game didn't turn out the way he wanted, but to go on the road against a really good opponent like Ohio University and come out with a win, I think shows that his players are already believing in and buying into his way of doing things. And so, no, we're good friends, and our wives are even better friends.
And from a similarity standpoint, how much do you see from far in his program compared to other guys who have worked under Urban? Sorry.
Similar, yeah. Again, I don't know the day-to-day. I don't know the mantras and all of that, but I see a team that plays really, really hard and really physical. And you know, even though they're a spread offense, much like us, they're going to run the football first. And they're going to try to pressure you in the backfield on defense. So the film is the only barometer I have to go off of, and I know they play really hard and really physical.
Tom, I'm not sure if things change a lot from year to year, but any concerns about Adrian Mays and the company secrets here?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that'll be a big challenge for us. We're having to change everything, every signal, every call, every check, you know, so that'll be it's a booger, because you're trying to get ready to win a game, but yet you're having to spend this inordinate amount of time to you know, mask what you're doing, because you know, Adrian wouldn't be a good coach if he didn't know what was going on. And so it's not a matter of you know, are we changing the plays? It's just a matter of what we're calling them and how we're communicating them, how we're signaling them.
Tom, right here. What are some of the specific strengths that Texas State possesses, or maybe some of the, you know, the key players that you and your coaching staff are game planning around?
Well, it starts with the quarterback. You know, he's a senior, and you know, he's playing like it. He's playing pretty good, and again, similar offenses in terms of they're going to be spread, no huddle, up tempo, but they're going to try to run the football to set up the play action pass. And then on defense, I think, you know, they're similar to Oklahoma in terms of they're going to be a three-man front, but they're Sam linebacker / nickel / field outside linebacker, whatever you want to call him. He is very involved in the run game, and so they really have 7 guys around the line of scrimmage, or at least around the football most of the time. So it's going to be tough sledding to run the football until we soften them up, I would think, a little bit.
Tom, what was the decision made to put De'Aaron King back at punt returner? Do you foresee that continuing, and is this just kind of a manifestation of trying to get him more involved?
Yes, on all of the above. I think one was to, you know, Stephen Dunbar's playing like 90 reps a game, and we can't, you know, it's a product of a lack of depth, you know, in the wide receiver room, you know, other than Isaiah and Chance and Steve, really outside receiver, it's non-existent. So trying to limit Steve's reps as much as possible, and then Derek's an explosive guy. You know, we gotta do a better job up front, but in terms of blocking for him. But I think if we can get him to, you know, I think all of them were fair caught or hit the ground against. Oh no, the one hit the ground, he picked it up and ran, I think, 8 yards against Cincinnati. But other than that,